Yeah, the Padres obviously have interviewed their in-house candidates. I'm led to believe that they've only looked at 2 of them so far. I don't know if the pitching coach, Ruben Niebla, is going to get an interview. He is under contract. Maybe they'll take a look at him. They are going to interview Phil Nevin. Phil, of course, was ousted with the Angels after going 119 and 149. Prior to that, had done a really good job in a bunch of different places in the minor leagues, notably with the Arizona Diamondbacks in Reno, and before that in the Tigers farm system. They're going to sit and talk to Phil. They are going to interview Benji Gil. Benji Gil is a longtime player, is a coach with the Angels. He has been in the major leagues as a coach with multiple teams, got some Texas connections. He's only managed in Mexico in the Winter League. But these 2 guys, I'll throw a third name that's out there. I'm not quite sure how this has happened. Mark Kotsay. Evidently, Oakland is willing to let him interview other places. And this is a guy that's got a world of experience and worked extensively within the Padre infrastructure, then went to Oakland, worked in their front office, became a coach, then became the manager, had a horrific season last year, not because of him, just because of what the ownership did with the roster, the stadium, the decision to move to Las Vegas. Mark Kotsay, maybe they should interview him. I've been told that Kotsay has already been in Cleveland and just interviewed for the Cleveland Guardians job. And I think he's held in high regard by a lot of people. And I'm not interviewing him because he's the next Padre. I'm interviewing him because I think he's got goods as a manager and as a coach and as a guy who relates to players and a little bit of a firebrand. So that's where we are right now. I'm sure there'll be a volume more names out there. General managers meetings are next week in Scottsdale. And I think we'll find out that Preller will be doing some interviews there too, at least first-round interviews with the guys.
It's interesting because Preller probably knows every one of these candidates.
Sure.
He has a relationship with them at various levels. He has people on his staff that know these guys really well. So the interview is almost like, just the process of this, because I'm sure they've got a stacked order, 1, 2, 3, who they'd like to have. Seems like Shildt is just such an obvious choice. He's already there. He's part of the organization. But Kotsay is interesting because, that dude has suffered in Oakland. No one deserves that. But I'm kind of rooting for Phil Nevin. I mean, not only because I've seen him over at Poway High at the ball field supporting his kids. He's a good guy, and I know he belongs somewhere. If not as a manager, then definitely in a third base coach or bench coach. He's a guy that is, you talk about accountability, that's willing to speak out and call out players for not stepping up. That's Phil.
He held the Angels together. I mean, if you look not at the 1-loss record, you don't even look at, they had some really hard losing streaks. I think they had one stretch, they lost 14 in a row. He glued it back together and they got competitive despite all the injuries, despite the kid pitchers, etc. We had a ways to go. I don't think they're going to name a manager in the next 20 minutes or so. Before we go from baseball to the next topic on the table,